Can you
Hello,
hear?
how's it going?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Sorry I'm a little late. I actually still don't know how to use Zoom, so
That's okay. I was trying to make sure everything was doing well.
cool. How's your day going?
Uh, so far fine. I just got up not that long ago.
Nice.
So I guess we can get started. So I want to ask you, how has the past year been for you? Considering that, well, we've been in a
Wait, what's
pandemic.
happened in the last year?
Yeah. So I know, since you most not most musicians, but a lot of musicians have to rely on touring. So I just want to know, how's the past year been?
Yeah, I mean, it's been tough. It's been up and down, just like for everyone. I think it's the sort of dramatic change in lifestyle has been obviously that's been a challenge, and kind of the mental health aspect of trying to dealing with for a long time at the beginning I was questioning like, well, am I ever going to be able to do this again? Like, is this really worth it? Is there any meaning in what I do? um these are, I think, questions that a lot of artists and musicians that I know have sort of dealt with, and especially with all the sort of social things happening. And it's just, I mean, it's been a really rough time, and it's been challenging to be creative, but um, I think, I started therapy, which was, really important for me in this time, and I highly recommend to everyone. Um, but yeah, I think the last couple months have been, it feels like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And it's I think if there's any benefit that's come out of it, out of the last year, it's sort of forced me to really evaluate what is important to me creatively, and uh, not just do things for the sake of touring to have stuff to play live. It's like, well, what's really important to me, and what's the story I'm really trying to tell? Um, and I think it's really clarified certain things about being an artist to me.
Yeah. So going back to therapy, it's good that you mentioned that, because I know a lot of, well, not just artists, but a lot of people always think that there's a stigma attached to that. So I'm glad more people are talking about it and saying that it's a good thing, especially if you're in a bad headspace, or just in a headspace that you're not normally in. So I wanted to talk more about your backstory and how you got started playing music. And I think I
Mm-hmm.
remember reading that you were classically trained in piano, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I was playing music from when I was really young. I was classically trained, was doing that. And then in middle school, high school, I fell in love with playing guitar and taught myself and started to write songs. And that was kind of like the thing that I, loved doing, and would drag all my friends out to see me play at the open mic. Um, and yeah, that was always kind of something that I wanted to just, I love doing and would just keep doing. And then, but it was really hard for me to even conceive that that could be a career, that could be my life. Socially, growing up Asian, it's like, that's not a thing. You know what I mean? It's like my it's great to have as a hobby, but it's not something that you can do for a living. And I kind of had that attitude, and but it was the thing I kept going back to. I started, kept working on guitar, kept writing, and was doing that all through college. And then um, even after college, I had a job in consulting for a year and a half, and that entire time I was like, well, I was very fortunate to have the job, but part of me was like, this isn't right. Like, you know what you want to do. And it, during that time, I was like spending more time like on the music than I was in my job. And at a certain point, I was just like, fuck it. Like, if you don't give this music thing a shot, like you're never going to forgive yourself. And so, it took a really long time for me to like, even when I quit and kind of went for it, I still sort of didn't believe that I could do it, that it was a thing that could happen. And, um, I literally just had no other choice, right? I was like, I can't live with not knowing. So I quit, and, I didn't really start producing electronic music until, you know, after college, and sort of fell in love with that, and was producing and DJing for a while. And then uh, as I sort of developed as an artist, I tried, the number one question you're always trying to answer as an artist is like, what is my voice? Like, what can I do that, what's something unique I can bring to the world? And so I kind of turned back to, the singer songwriter and the guitar and the singing that I loved doing when I was a kid, and sort of melded that with the new electronic sound that I had developed as I was older. So
Was there like a pivotal point when you were working in consulting where you were just like, man, I can't do this anymore because my heart's just not in it? Was
I
there
mean,
like a pivot?
every single day. It
Yeah.
was, it was I really tried to, you know, I tried to accept that life. And I think there's a lot of guilt associated with it because I was incredibly fortunate to have that job.
Hmm.
It's an opportunity that most people would do anything for, and I felt
Hmm.
ungrateful. But at the end of the day, every single day I woke up and I was completely miserable. And
Yeah.
I saw the next 10, 20 years of my life ahead of me. And I was like, that's not a life I want. And at a certain point, it was just like, I can't do another day of this. And, I just have to go for it.
Um, what music did you like as a child?
Well, I think the first music I ever loved was Fantasia. Um, when I was a baby, my mom would, whenever I was crying, she would just like put me in front of the TV and put the VHS of Fantasia on, and like apparently that would like get me to shut up. So um, that was sort of the beginning, and then as I got older, I got really into I loved hip hop, I loved like alternative rock. Um, my idol growing up was John Mayer, like Damien Rice, singer songwriters like that, Jack
Hmm.
Johnson, and then loved like the Chili Peppers, um, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, bands like that. And then uh, that was sort of my like the indie alternative kind of rock stuff was sort of um, the stuff I was sort of raised on, I guess, when I was in high school. That was sort of my intro into making music.
So, you grew up in Michigan, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Michigan, yeah. Was that the kind of music that was everybody listening to back in Michigan, or were you like the kind of emo kid?
Uh, I think it was, I think it was a mix. I think it was a mix. Eminem was obviously huge because, he was like our guy. Um, but I think I maybe leaned a little more indie. The music culture in Ann Arbor is actually amazing. So like, I was listening to the Killers like very early on
Yeah,
before they
yeah,
were
yeah.
like before they were Mr. Brightside Killers, right? They were, they're like this cool underground or sort of indie
Hmm.
kind of thing. So I think it was, there was a huge variety of what people were listening to, um, and I think it was, people were very open, and it was like it was like a music melting pot, I think.
Okay. would you ever think about going back to uh, relearning classical piano to incorporate into your new music?
Yes. Well, I mean, I have this. Where is it? I've had this book for like. I actually had my mom mail this to me from home, which is, and I've been like, you know, going through and trying to play some of the stuff I used to play. It's fun, and I think it's, you know, it's like a cool, you know, it gets me, I had in a different brain space and sort of, you know, it's a nice refresher. But I think ultimately I'm, you know, I'm more into creating my own stuff. And, you know, when I was learning classical songs, sometimes I would like improv little things off the song, and my teacher would like fucking scream at me and be like, "That's not how the song goes." And I'm like, "Well, I think it sounds better," and they'd be, you know, so. But yeah, no, that's always it's always like a fun thing for me to do.
Let's talk about your new single that's coming out a bit.
Mm-hmm.
How how do you typically go into kind of creating and producing your tracks and your music?
So almost always, and I think every song, excuse me, on this album starts like away from the computer, usually on the piano or guitar. And I write the song, I write the melody and the lyrics, and kind of construct the song in my head. And a big thing for me is like, even though I'm an electronic producer, I want all of my songs to be able to be played, you know, on acoustic instruments and still feel like a song. And so after that, then once I kind of like sketch it out in my head, then I'll like kind of move into the computer and kind of lay things down and, you know, try out some drum grooves, and then kind of just, there's no real like overarching plan. It's really just a like, do the next thing you think sounds cool and kind of just kind of chase that path and until it turns into something.
What program do you use?
Ableton.
Oh, okay. How long did it take you to learn Ableton? Were you quick with it, or were you like, was it a laboring process?
I think I picked it up pretty quick.
Wow.
I was, you know, I had been trained on Pro Tools before, so I knew a little bit.
Oh,
But
okay.
you know, I've been on Ableton every day for the last, you know, 10 years. So it's I'm like pretty. It's been a while since I've, you know, I do remember like early on, I'd like pull stuff up and like change, like just turn every knob and just like be like, what does this do? And you know, it took a lot of years of trial and error to like really figure stuff out. But yeah, it's, you know, it's just one of those things where it's so ingrained in my brain now that it's like, you know, I can like communicate directly through it at this point.
Do you think knowing music theory helped you in the fact that you could read sheet music, or do you think that made it harder?
I think it helped in some ways, um, and it was like maybe not helpful in others. I think for the style of music I make, it made things, uh, it made things easier in that I knew exactly, like when I heard something in my head, I knew exactly what notes to go to, like what chords I needed. Um, so from that perspective, it's, I think it's helpful. But then, you know, they're amazing artists that aren't classically trained at
Yeah.
all.
Uh-huh.
And I think the downside is that if you're classically trained, like you have these rules in your head on like what's allowed to happen, and you know that can actually kind of be counterproductive when
Yep.
you know, you hear someone like Dead Mouse who doesn't know any theory but is creating these like he just trusts his instincts and is just creating
Yeah.
these incredible, you know, kind of odd and like,
Yeah.
different, all these different textures, and it's almost like he doesn't know the rules, so he can break them, like, and he's creating something that's like, absolutely incredible. So.
What lyric have you written do you feel most emotionally connected to currently?
That I've ever written?
Yeah, of all of, yeah.
It's a great question.
Thank you.
I think on the outro to my song Glass Mansion, there's like a little outro bridge, and it's almost like the lyric is, "We'll never have it better than we do right now," and it's like kind of repeated, and it's almost like a mantra, and that's sort of that's an idea that I try to kind of bring into my day-to-day life. Be grateful for being alive, and despite everything, whenever I'm down and anxious or in a bad place, it's trying to remember, even when things are going better, like going well, and but just to like stay in the present. And at the end of every show on tour, I would close my eyes and sing this line and try to really not take anything for granted and just be present, and to fully live the experiences that we're going through, good or bad.
Yeah, that's a great lyric, great choice. And another quarantine question, but what is the one piece of pop culture, whether it's an album, movie, or a TV show, that has kind of kept you sane or your head above water?
Let's see. Quarantine's been a long time, so I'm trying to go back to the beginning. I've been going through and watching all of the Miyazaki movies. So I love Spirited Away. I have a Spirited Away tattoo. But going through and watching like all of the movies, like all the ones I've never seen, Castle in the Sky, Howl's Moving Castle, Kiki's Delivery Service, Princess Mononoke, just going through and watching all of them. And those are all really inspiring and beautiful, and a little light in the darkness, I guess.
Yeah, I've only seen Howl's Moving Castle, but I'm trying to make my way through all of them. The animation in every single one is gorgeous, and they all have a great message behind them. So
yeah, you gotta get into Spirited Away. That is the pinnacle.
Yeah, okay. I'll that's the next one I'll check out.
Yeah.
I guess this is the last question. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, I'm just excited for everyone to hear kind of the new direction. It's been a while since I put out music, and I miss it, and I miss everyone, and we'll get through this soon.
Cool. Thanks for taking the time out. I love the new track. So
thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too. Take care.